All right, guys, welcome to the Measured and Kelvin podcast. We got the usual suspect in the house tonight. What's up, Adam?
Hey, Kelvin, how you doing tonight?
Oh man, you know what I mean, making it, man, making it. You know what I mean, trying to make it shake. All right, man. So you been catching up on the news lately, man?
Not too much, man. I'm just coming off spring break, but I've been, I watched the State of the Union a little bit. Saw Joe Biden's lies, and that's pretty much it.
Joe Biden's lies. What
Oh
was he
yeah,
lying
for
about?
sure. Yeah. I mean, job creation, the usual stuff. Him walking back the whole calling that Kaylee girl's murderer an illegal, all kinds of stuff.
The Kaylee girl. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
they've been
yeah.
talking about that.
He
Yeah,
said illegal, and then he's gonna walk it back, to keep his woke base happy.
the woke base. Who is
Yeah, the
that?
woke base. Huh? That's the
Wow, the
woke
woke
mob that
base.
supports that's the woke mob that supports Joe
Man, you
Biden,
mean black people, Adam?
Obama's former coalition. No, it's the LGBTQ and Hispanics and African Americans.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. All right, man. You gonna check out some highlights of that real quick, man?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Hold on one second. It's the woke base. I don't think that. I don't. Well, never mind. I don't know if they. I don't know if everybody you named is all the way included in that, but I don't know. Let me see here.
Anybody propagating Marxist ideals,
Marxist ideas.
Yeah. So like Black Lives Matter, the
There
LGBTQ
we go.
community. What's that?
Here we go. Let me see. Here we go.
From President Biden, a feisty State of the Union address.
I will
Feisty.
not bow down.
Relishing the back and forth with Republicans.
I know you know how to read. If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know.
The president looking to demonstrate he has the vigor and vision to serve another 4 years, and sharply critiquing his likely Republican challenger,
You can't love your country only when you win.
without ever mentioning former President Trump's name. On Russia,
My predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. That's a quote.
on the Capitol attack,
My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th.
and on abortion rights.
He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it.
President Biden vowing to restore Roe v. Wade if he has the votes in Congress, and in a rare moment admonishing the Supreme Court justices in attendance for their role.
With all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
Facing low approval ratings on the economy, the president delivering an optimistic view, touting strong job growth and unemployment at a 50-year low following the pandemic.
Turning setback into comeback. That's what America does.
And on immigration, with a record number of migrants entering the country since he took office, President Biden blamed Republicans for rejecting a bipartisan border security bill that Mr. Trump opposed,
We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it.
even holding up a button given to him by Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, who demanded he acknowledge the death of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley after an undocumented immigrant was charged with her murder.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself.
Still, Alabama Senator Katie Britt, delivering the Republican rebuttal, slammed the president's handling of the border.
President Biden's border policies are a disgrace. This crisis is despicable. And the truth is, it is almost entirely preventable.
The president acknowledging his age
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
and using it to deliver a political point.
The issue facing our nation isn't how old we are, it's how old are our ideas.
Trying to reframe the issue while contrasting himself with Mr. Trump.
My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy. Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me.
And one note, a man who heckled President Biden last night was a Gold Star father whose son, a Marine, was among 13 U.S. service members killed during the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. That father was arrested for his outburst last night. As for President Biden's performance, it really went a long way to ease Democrats' concerns about his age. During what was a 33-minute walk out of the chamber, a senior Democrat said to the president, "Nobody's going to call you cognitively impaired now." Savannah.
All right, Peter, thank you. Also here in Washington with us, Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the...
All right.
All right.
Man.
So, I mean, I will agree with Joe Biden. He hasn't had an idea that's been old in probably about 20 years. So,
Yeah, well, man, I tell you what, I mean, it actually went over well in the polls, man. They did some polls, and he's actually looking better. They kind of, I
but
guess,
who's winning in the
energized.
polls? But who's
I
winning in the
mean,
polls?
look, man, you
I
got
mean,
Fox saying
doesn't
one
matter.
thing,
No.
CNN says one thing, but
They all say the
man,
same thing. The polls say the same thing. Trump's ahead.
yeah,
Even the most liberal
yeah,
polls. Even the most liberal
man,
polls.
hey, we'll see, man. I mean, November be here before you know it, man. But I mean, if he's still out by November, if he's still out,
Oh, yeah, he will be. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can still run for presidency as long as he's not charged for treason, which he hasn't been, and no one has been,
man,
right? So,
you never know what he'll
um,
do before now and then. He has a shaky past, man. Yeah, but yeah, that was. I mean, I watched it, man. It's always theatrical, man. Whoever's up there talking, Republicans or Democrats, it's just like I don't know. It's a lot of talking,
yeah, I
So
mean, I've always hated the idea of the State of the Union. It's very like monarchical, right? Like have your king stand out in front of you every year and kind of tell you what's going on. I definitely think it's stupid. But making claims like, oh, we created jobs at the lowest they've ever been in 50 years. Like, yeah, they were at that low under Trump, right? You just gained the jobs back. You haven't created any jobs.
well, the thing about it is, to be honest with you, actually, they're still riding off of the Obama wave because I mean, when Trump took over, man, the economy was great.
Bro, no, it wasn't. The economy was
Yeah,
falling apart. It was
no,
destroyed. Obama did absolutely nothing for our economy but ruin it.
no, it was
Yes, the
really good.
economy
It
was
was really good.
horrible. The economy was horrible in 2016.
No, man,
2015, yes,
no,
it was.
no,
Yes,
it
it
wasn't.
was. It
Well,
was
you
at its
know,
peak in 2019.
no, I mean, no. But you know how they say when a president's in office, what he really does and doesn't take effect until like he's actually gone, and that's exactly what happened. So he changes
No,
everything.
man, you're not in there for 8 years. I could see that in a first term, his second term being like, yeah, but no, the
Yeah,
entire time he was president, it was a shitty
yeah.
economy.
Well,
It was
I
as
mean, I'm not
soon as
finna get.
Trump got in, and that's something that Democrats like to do, right? They like to
Well,
pick and choose which president. Oh, this is a benefit of the
no.
previous
Well,
president.
the
This
thing
is
about
but anything bad that goes wrong, it's immediately Donald Trump's fault, right? So
no. I
they
mean,
always, yeah,
but
they
the
always
whole thing
pass the
about it is
buck,
that
yeah.
they was waiting. A lot of people saw businesses, big business anyway. They was waiting for him to get in there so he could like basically, I guess, unloosen some of the regulations that they had upon them that
So
so
that
they
they
could
could
do
start
business,
working in
no,
America, so they could
doing
start
business
doing business in
correctly and
America.
paying taxes and stuff like that. So that's what they were trying to avoid. But yeah,
Trying to avoid. So you're aware that like the top 1% of wage earners pay 50% of gross income tax, right? The top
man,
50% of wage earners pay 100% of gross income tax,
yeah, I
right?
don't know
So
about that, man.
these
The middle class is
that's
paying for a lot of
that's
that.
fact. That's fact. America has the most progressive taxation system. The top 50% pay 100% of gross income tax.
No,
People like you and
they
me,
are.
we receive more in services.
Yeah, well, it's like this, man. The thing is that when I know that where the tax code right now it's not working for like even small people like us. You know what I'm saying? So,
Bro, it
but
more than benefits us. Yeah. If we got rid of things
no,
like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, WIC, EBT, if we
man.
got
Okay,
rid of all that
okay.
shit,
So
it'd work even better.
what are people supposed to do when they get older? Then
How about they take the money that's being taken out for Medicare and they put it in a high yield savings account for themselves because they're not morons like the government likes to think, and then they have a retirement plan,
yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously,
right?
some people, if
You're
you're in the know, I mean, that's what's up. But the average
I mean,
person, man, they do.
private retirement plans will always do better than anything government funded. I mean, look, like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid has done nothing but rob the American people. All we do is
Yeah,
continue to borrow from it. Like we'll
yeah.
never see that. That's a tax that we'll never see.
What are they having in Canada? I mean, what do they do?
I mean, they have social insurance,
Your home
right?
state,
So they have
home country.
my home country. They have social insurance, so they have like third party insurance where everybody has governmental insurance, and then you
Hey,
have
I know that. I'm talking about
yeah.
like as far as like just like do they get Social Security? I
Yeah,
mean,
they have something simple. Yeah. That's
yeah,
something similar, yeah.
yeah.
Which
And
I
man,
100%
yes.
disagree with, yeah.
So now I'm gonna tell you what was probably the fakest thing that I probably ever seen in my life, and I'm not even exaggerating. That lady that did the Republican response, man, that was just God, man. They could have got
Yeah,
anybody else.
well, I
That was
mean,
crazy.
when you get your
That was crazy.
information from the Biden HJ network, they just want to pat Biden on the back and give him a reach around. Yeah,
No,
absolutely. That's what you're gonna find.
I'm
Yeah,
talking. No,
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm referring to the lady that did the Republican response, the one that was speaking at the
Correct.
end
Did
of the
you watch the
video.
entire response, or did you
Yeah,
watch
I watched
what?
the
Did you
whole
just
thing,
watch
man.
what MSNBC showed you?
No. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
even watch that. I don't get my information
Mm-hmm.
from there.
Yeah.
I do not get my information from there. But no, that was trash. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, she trying to act like her voice was quivering, and it really wasn't. It was just, man, it was horrible acting, man.
Yeah, I think
They
the
could
whole
have made
thing was pretty
somebody.
horrible acting.
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Biden pretending he's president.
Well, he is
Kamala
president,
Harris
man.
sitting in the back acting like she's not a lunatic.
Like what?
Not a lunatic.
What kind of lunatic is she? I mean, damn.
Kamala Harris? Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
yeah.
She's the type of lunatic that withholds exculpatory evidence to keep men in prison so they can be cheap labor.
Man. Okay, yeah.
That's
We need to
proven
get
fact. That's
we need to get
100%
some.
proven
Why don't
fact.
you drop some?
Yeah.
Why don't you drop a link in the chat right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. But now, but I know she was like, I
Well,
think
that's
like
why it's
the
so funny when you hear Joe Biden talk about like letting these people out of prison for frivolous crimes or like nonviolent crimes, and like Kamala Harris laughing like the fucking Joker and clapping like a seal behind him. Is
clapping like a seal.
she's
God damn,
yeah,
man.
yeah, she's an idiot, dude. She's
Like
an
a
idiot.
seal.
Yeah, even yeah. Look, New York Times was not a progressive prosecutor here, and she would keep people in prison. Some people she kept in past their stay, like when they were supposed to get out and shit like that.
Man, are you
Other
trying to
people,
when you said seal? What kind of seal do you mean?
I
Like
mean,
a
like a seal, like an
ocean?
idiot.
Oh wow, this is crazy, man, dude. I'm telling you, I don't even want. I'm not even gonna start back clapping back against Trump, looking crazy. See, it's just like, man, I could go back and forth with you on that, man. But now, see, man, hey, the viewers gonna get you for that one.
You
Seal,
think so? Yeah, they'll be all right.
yeah, because the
Yeah.
seal, man, I don't even want to start because, like I said, you never mind, man. This is crazy. But man, so okay, as far as like the presidential election right now, I mean, like, it's really not looking good for Trump either because they say he's actually running out of money.
He's running out of money.
Yeah,
All he has to do is sell another round of those Trumps, yo. But I mean,
man, ain't nobody buying that.
you can say all you want. Trump's not running out of money, right? Everything's coming out of his CPAC, right? So he's
Yeah,
not.
well,
You
I
think
mean,
you think he's paying for any of this shit? No, absolutely not.
no, that's why he met with Elon Musk, man. He was trying to get some money from him last week.
I bet you he's already got money from Elon.
No, he didn't give him any.
I bet you he already does.
No,
Bet.
he didn't get any from him.
Yeah, because the last thing Elon Musk would want is another Biden presidency, or God forbid, Kamala Harris.
Hey, you never know. It's looking like we're gonna get it. But I mean, this is the thing about it. Any viewers out there, I'm actually an independent. I'm not on Republican or the Democrat side. That's where I'm at with everything. So like I said, yeah, any way it goes or whatever. I mean, I'm for the best person to be in there. That's how
You'll be Republican by the next election cycle.
Man, that's not a
it's
shot in
coming.
hell.
It's coming, yo.
told you.
I was where you are back in 2016, yo. Yeah.
No, man, I told you, dude. Like it ain't no way, man. Like I said again, as long as they got that 1/3 of MAGA with that white nationalist movement, that's
Where do you get
highly-
that? Where do you get that number from?
Man, dude, look, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
Where do you get that number
like
from?
this. Man, you know what?
The
I'm gonna
ACLU.
No, I'm gonna put it to you just like this.
Mm-hmm.
Those MAGA rallies remind me of a Klan rally. That's how it looks. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying in the Republican Party, I'm just.
So
I'm
you're
really
saying
being
because
modest.
anywhere that a bunch of white people meet and get excited, it's a Klan rally, right?
No,
So
no,
that's so
and then put words
we
in my
need
mouth.
to now we need to equate Black Lives Matter with Black Panther rallies, right?
No, hell no. You don't. No, I ain't trying to go that way with it. What I'm trying to tell you is
Yeah.
like this: is that there's a white nationalist movement that's a part of the Republican Party, and
That's a
everybody
false
knows
narrative.
it.
That's a
Man,
false
whatever,
narrative.
man.
That's a
No,
false narrative.
no.
Prove it.
That Jan-
White
those
nationalists.
Jan-
White nationalists are more likely to vote for a Democrat than a Republican.
Those January 6th militia type people are all in there. And
Militia type people. So because they're in a militia, they're white nationalists, or because they were at January 6th, they're white nationalists.
You know what? I think there are a lot of things, but I'm like this. I'm being modest when I say 1/3, and I mean I'm just saying
I think you're
least,
grossly overestimating the amount of racism in
no.
America. Yeah, for sure.
No.
Considering a majority of racism in America is black against white. Same thing with violent crime.
Man, ain't no way in hell. Okay, see the thing about it,
100%.
Listen, because see, you trying to drag me into this hole again. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just letting you know. Like I said, that's the statement I got. I'm not voting for. I'm not voting for. What's the name?
I said by next election cycle you'll be a Republican.
Shit, no, I'm good.
That's what I said.
I'm good. Man, on to the real good stuff, and we're gonna, all this is gonna lead back to the other black hole of pause. But anyway, to Trump, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, I wanted to actually talk about Fani Willis and I guess her hearing regarding the election, I guess case that she over for Trump, and I guess they got this conflict of interest with her and Nathan Wade and all of that. And
David Wade.
David
Wade. I don't think she's dating a basketball player.
No, it's Nathan Wade.
Is it Nathan Wade?
Nathan Wade, yeah. I'm positive on that. Nathan Wade.
Right.
So yeah, the hearing is over now. I guess the judge is figuring out what he's gonna do and stuff like that. So they actually had a hearing in I guess the Capitol or whatever, and then they talking to the Senate and seeing what they're gonna do. Not what they're gonna do. They just really want to hear what was really going on. They did a Senate hearing, and I was gonna play a little bit of this. Now, it was pretty much like a Republican ran hearing, and they did let one Democrat talk, and I did want to let you hear it so you can actually. We're gonna stop it and pause it and actually let you hear. This is actually when the Democrat was actually, I guess, asking questions for. Here you go. Hold on one sec. Let me pull this up here. But yeah, I mean, you always try to drag me into the abyss.
No, I just try and show you the truth, man. That's it.
The truth. Here we go.
And you cite the case of Whitworth versus State. What in that case actually applies to this particular case?
I don't know if I'm looking. You said it was the last one that I filed?
Yeah.
So February 9th.
Yes, page 24.
Page 24. You said Woodward?
Whitworth.
I don't see Whitworth.
At the bottom, Georgia courts have developed their own standard for disqualification of prosecutors.
That's not my page 24. You must be looking at a different, the one that was filed February 9th at 3:47.
We can't hear you.
I'm so sorry.
Just
I'm so
pull
sorry.
the microphone
Yeah,
just
of
a little
course.
bit closer to you.
Yes, I want to make sure I'm following the same one. You're talking about the defendant supplemental reply that was filed on February 9th at 3:47?
No, let's go back.
Okay.
Let's use your first one.
Okay.
Yeah. One that's a little bit more. Okay. So that one there on the Whitworth case. Tell me how that actually impacts this particular case.
Which page are you referring to?
Page 24.
Page 24, okay. So the site is Whitworth. The court recognized a conflict of interest as a ground for disqualification. Held to arise where the prosecutor had acquired a personal interest or stake in the defendant's conviction. And I don't, I wish I had that case in front of me. I don't have the case in front of me. But essentially, to answer your question, that first of all is physical precedent only. So
right.
yes, and we
But you did cite it.
And said
Right.
that it's physical
Yeah.
precedent only.
And you're using that as the basis, really, to say it's a conflict. There's no other case law that you actually use in this particular brief to say it's a conflict other than Whitworth and also amusement sales, which deals with contingency fee.
Right.
And so in Whitworth, and I have the case if you want to go through it, it actually talks about that there's ways of citing the conflict.
Right.
Number one would be if he had, or prosecutor had actually spoken to the defendant. Has that taken place?
No.
Okay. Second, has he represented the defendant?
No, he hasn't. There was a motion early on. It was, I didn't even bring this up here, and I don't think we talked.
I'm gonna pause it just for a second. During this right here, this guy pretty much ate her lunch. I mean,
No, I mean, he did, but just because legally she came back the wrong way, right? You know, he's trying to say that there's no legal precedent based on this toward affair that these people are having to have them removed from the Trump case.
Right.
However, legally, we have what's called stare decisis, which means that simply because something has been taken to mean a word of law for so long when it comes to like the Supreme Court or lower courts, that's the way it's been purposely interpreted for a reason. It's been stare decisis to know that prosecutors should not sleep with judges. That is conflict of interest.
Not in Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah.
In every state,
Okay.
we're talking federally now, right? You know, this is gonna go from
this-
Georgia. This isn't staying in
this is
Georgia.
in
I mean,
Georgia
it's
right
state
now,
right now.
But yeah, I'm gonna start it back up. Here you go.
Talked about it in the brief, but there was a motion early on because Mr. Campbell, who's Mr. Wade's law partner, actually sent a mailer out to my client and all of the other
remember that.
defendants. Yeah. So I don't think anybody called based on that, but they did advertise to them saying, call us to represent you.
And then they came with the third, which says there has to be a personal stake in the defendant's conviction.
Right.
So is that what you're relying on there, that there's a personal stake in his conviction?
No, in the prosecution also. So, and in that case, that's physical presence only. And I don't remember the specific facts of that case, but it's not just a conviction. And obviously, the state wants it to be just a conviction. And we argued this extensively over 3 hours, I think, in front of the court. But it's also a personal stake in the prosecution, and that was an amusement. You know, prosecution in that case, that was a contingency fee case. So
That's
that was
correct.
Completely different. Yeah.
And so in amusement, it was a contingency fee case. So they had a personal stake actually really in the conviction, because they only received the contingency fee when the conviction happened.
Right.
So what you're really saying is that they had a personal stake in just bringing the case, because he can't have there's no personal stake in the conviction similar to amusement, correct?
Well, so amusement's a little bit.
See, the thing is that I don't think they really challenged her in the actual hearing. Yes, and this is at the Senate. So I mean, but the thing about it is that nobody actually tried, like nobody questioned her. Because I watched it too, and she's a good talker. She's a fast talker, but I don't know. She was, I guess, the sharpest one on the Trump side anyway. But he's eating her up, and I'm telling you, if the judge,
He's really not. Yeah,
he's
really not doing that well.
It gets better.
He's making a bunch of non sequiturs, you know, which is essentially like a logical fallacy, right? He's trying to draw conclusions that aren't there. He's stating principles that don't exist.
But basically, it wasn't all this personal gain, like they're saying. So, but yeah, I'm gonna let it go again here.
Different because there is no conviction in a forfeiture act.
Correct, but they're going to get money if they win.
Right, but there's no conviction.
But they're going to get money if they win. That's the key.
They get money if they keep the forfeiture. So it's where that was a forfeiture case. I think that was like game slots.
That's correct.
Yes.
But they get money if they win.
Right. But
that's the only way they get money.
Yes. But
they don't get money for bringing it.
So I just wanted to make sure it was clear.
Right.
That was not conviction because you can't have a conviction.
But they only get money if they're the victor. He's receiving his funds. Mr. Wade is receiving his funds because he's billing because the case is going on, correct?
Oh, yes.
Not because he wins a case.
No, he can lose the case and still
Absolutely.
Make a ton of money off of it.
So what you're saying is the actual conflict is just bringing it.
No, the actual conflict is, that's a long answer. The actual conflict is lying on your disclosures about how much money
I'm
you
talking
have
as far
to
as
give.
this issue is concerned right here. When you use the Whitworth, you use amusement sales, and they say that there has to be an actual conflict. And amusement sales, and let's go back to Whitworth if we can, because in Whitworth, the person was actually told, the prosecutor was actually told by another prosecutor that they want the case to actually resolve in a conviction. Because what had happened was the defense attorney came to the prosecutor and said, we would like to plead. Mm-hmm. And the prosecutor basically said, no. He went and got advice from somebody, and that prosecutor said, we would like this case to resolve in a conviction.
Right.
And so the question, and that then was held not to be a conflict. They said that still is not an actual conflict, even though someone told that prosecutor. We want to see a conviction. We actually want to see it go to the end. Don't plea him out. And the court said, no, that's not an actual conflict, because what you have to show is there's an actual unfairness to the defendant in the trial.
Right.
Can you point to any unfairness in the trial that's taking place?
It's not in the trial, so it's not limited just to the trial. But to answer the first part of your question, when you were asking about the conviction of personal stake, Ms. Willis has made numerous public statements about her interest in a conviction. There's some emails that had been admitted as part of it, as part of some of the exhibits in the case. There's a lot of pleadings, so I don't know which one exactly, but talking about her desire for there to be a conviction and jail time. And then in my case, for example, so Mr. Wade offered my client misdemeanor probation. So we were the first people to get an offer. And we said no, we wanted a dismissal because he was not guilty. And that did not happen. So obviously there's an interest in him being convicted of something, because when the plea offer was for him to pay a $5,000 fine and have a misdemeanor.
So in reality, because you said that he wanted to extend the case out, he was actually trying to end your client's case.
With a $5,000.
But it was going to end.
See, right there, that's why I said, like, they didn't ask the right questions actually during the hearing, and bring forth, I guess, the right evidence. It just was a lot of blabber, but this guy knows the questions to ask. And I mean, I'm gonna say this: Fani Willis, I'm gonna let you talk, but let me get this out. Fani Willis, Nathan Wade, all that, the way they went about their business was not right. But the thing about it is, like, by the law, they don't really have anything.
Yeah, except the perjury on the stand, right? So you want to lock Trump up and throw away the key over alleged fraud, which happens every day with realtors. It's the same thing that happens to the point where New York is having to tell their realtors and their real estate developers that, don't worry, we charge Trump with this, we're not going to charge you. But when Fani Willis does have a conflict of interest, she actually commits a crime, which is perjury on the stage, or which is perjury on the stand. Well, now we want to throw up as, oh, well, they don't have any evidence. We do have evidence that she committed perjury on the stand, right? She denied allegations to her relationship. We have thousands of text messages. Yeah, the conflict of interest. Yeah, absolutely. The conflict of interest is going to be simply based on, yes, they were trying to finish her out and get her to plea out early. But when you hire your boyfriend who is billing hourly the state, and you can give them as many hours as you want, and he's made over $600,000 in the year that this has happened, billing the American taxpayer so that he can take her on lavish. Yeah, it's the American tax. Well, it's the American taxpayer. It doesn't matter, So even your state, even your state judiciary all the way down, they do get federal tax dollars.
This is the thing about it. I mean, what's crazy about it is that Trump and his minions are on trial, but they still keep on trying to drag in all this distraction. They just trying to buy themselves.
Well, I think the point here is, and you've kind of just proven it, is that what Trump has done may be bad and it may be a crime, but you've proven that the Democrats and people on that side are willing to overlook the negative things that Democrats are doing simply to get Trump. Right. And that proves that this is political persecution.
Man, it's like this,
right? They're committing perjury in the act of trying to get Trump.
To you just like this, whatever they did,
perjury,
stuff like that. I mean, however, but I'm just gonna say this: I don't want to see anybody in jail, but I say it's just some of the stuff that he did. I don't think
is the stuff that he did. He's definitely not. If he had done anything close to what the Clintons, the Bidens, or the Obamas did, he'd be in prison right now. He'd be in prison right now. He'd be in prison right now. If he had committed anything close to it, he'd be in prison right now.
All right.
Obama killed 3 American citizens without a trial, bro. It's 100% true. Google it. 100% true.
It would be no more billing on that case, because earlier you said that you believe, which was total speculation, that they created this case against your client to do more billing. And what you're just telling me now is that he was willing to stop his billing because he offered your client a misdemeanor and you rejected it. You're the one who's continuing the billing.
Oh, I don't bill by the hour.
No, you're the one that's continuing to make him bill. He was willing to cut that off. You said, I believe that they created this case against my client so they can continue to bill. Well, he basically went out and said, I'm tired of billing. I'm going to offer a misdemeanor.
Okay,
And you said no.
Take a couple notes because you had a couple questions there. I want to make sure I answer all of them. So the billing, so as far as the billing and the offer. So what I was trying to explain, and I'm glad you gave me this opportunity to sort of go into it in a little more detail. I tried to explain that there are really 3 classifications is how I broke the indictment down. There's the folks that are involved at the federal level. You see those people having, they were in D.C. Then you see the electors. Then you see coffee. These cases could have been
Ms.
handled.
Merchant, we can't even hear you hardly.
Oh, I'm
up
so
here.
sorry.
Just pull
I
it
didn't-
up right
sorry.
to you. Pull it to the edge of the desk if you have to, so everybody
Okay.
can hear.
Sorry. Okay. So how I was trying to explain it is I separate this down into 3 different types of cases. And it could have been handled that way. Coffee County could have been prosecuted in Coffee County if it had been chosen to do that. The stuff with the federal could have been handled in federal court if they had chosen to do that. Then the electors would have been the only remaining case that could have been prosecuted in Fulton County. Instead of choosing to do that, and it's not just my client in particular, but that group in the middle, by putting them all 3 together, it expands the litigation. How it expands it is a couple different ways. It expands it because when you charge a RICO case, you can bring in evidence of everything. So essentially, instead of having a case, a quick case, a case where there's evidence against Michael Roman, only Michael Roman, we litigate that. They expanded it to include these 3 different classifications. What does that do? That means the trial is going to be a year. They can plead people out. They can plead Michael Roman out, they can plead this person out, they can plead people out, but they're always going to have that large enterprise. And it actually does, even if they pled my client out, the offer was for him to testify. So, for him to testify, even though he would not be on trial, his acts would still allegedly.
Yeah, and see, really, when y'all listen to all this, all it is that if Michael Roman is actually willing to actually go to jail, it's just he didn't take that plea so that he wouldn't have to testify against Trump. That's all it is. They're just trying to protect him. But in the end, he's going to go to jail because
He's not. He's not going to go to jail, dude.
It's a state trial, not federal.
Doesn't
He
matter.
can't even plead. He can't even give himself a pardon
Right.
on that. He
Again,
got to face it. He got to face
On
the music
state
that bad
on
boy.
state charges, yeah, he can definitely pardon himself on state charges if he wins
No, come on,
presidency.
no,
Yes, 100%.
no,
Yes, you can.
no,
He is the
no.
president of the
Only on
United States.
federal.
Yes,
Only
no, sir, no.
he can't
And
pardon
you're
himself
telling
on
me,
his- okay.
and you're
I'm telling
you're
you,
telling me the
that's why
governor,
he's so
you're telling me
scared.
the governor of Georgia is not going to vacate the
That's
president's
why
charges.
That's why he is so scared to get in there. That's the problem.
Get in where?
No,
Who's scared of what?
to jail. That's why he's so scared.
He's
don't
not
think
going to
gonna get
jail.
out.
It's never going to
Okay.
happen.
But
It's never going to
that's
happen.
That's either here nor there. We're gonna see. I'm just waiting for this trial to get on the road, man. Let's get this
Mhm.
ball moving. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying?
mean, if we could get the corrupt Democrats to stop controlling it, then we can see what's actually
Man.
going on. Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, here we go.
be on trial, which still expands the litigation because he's not gone. The deal's not you can plea out and you're gone. Bye. We're not taking up time with you. It still expands it. So my whole point earlier was that this expands the litigation because imagine if we just had, like you see in other cases, one defendant. You can limit the information to just that crime and that case. Or you could have 3 separate indictments. But what we've done here is we've put them all together. You've made it so that it's necessary to try them to have 3 trials because there's no courtroom that can fit all of those people. So that expands the litigation.
So in the case that you cited, physical or not,
Which one? Whitworth?
Whitworth, it says specifically that when the prosecutor goes up, Morgan, who is the person who's not supposed to, who's talking to him, who's the prosecutor, Hobbs informs Morgan, who is the prosecutor, that he anticipated a successful criminal prosecution, but that any decision regarding Whitworth's proposal to Morgan was Morgan's to make. Morgan decided to continue to go forward. And they said that was not a conflict, that was this prosecutor's decision to make. And you're saying, this is the case you cite. Well, in your case, they actually came to you and said, we're willing to give you a plea. And you said no, which is perfectly fine. But then you say, well, they want to extend prosecution on my client. They were willing to cut it off. And so therefore, the case that you cite is totally opposite than the situation that you're dealing with.
See, the thing is that with her, I guess people find her maybe attractive or whatever. But see, she's never been challenged, and she's just not that smart. But they had her on, they had her on YouTube. I seen on different podcasts. I mean, like she's some genius. And I'm gonna just go ahead and drop a bombshell for you because you don't know this part. Okay, Bradley, Nathan's Wade's basically buddy that was on a law firm with him for 10 years. They were best friends for years. All right. So the thing is that how she even got the text messages, how she even got any of this information, this sucker, I want to get his name right too. I want to get his name right because I don't want to call. I know his last name is Bradley, but the thing about it is he fed he fed that lady text messages on everything that was happening. And I mean, and he told,
So,
he
so
told
you're telling me
everything
that someone's best friend saw them doing something wrong and turned them over for not only fraud, but also having an inappropriate work relationship on the American taxpayer dollar, and he's in the wrong?
Yeah, Terrence Bradley, that's his first name. Okay, this is the thing about it. This is the thing about it is, I just have to get there right. I want to call anybody names wrong. This is what it is. The killer part about it is that what you don't know is that Terrence Bradley was Nathan Wade's divorce attorney in 2021. So the information that he was actually telling was actually attorney privilege, client, privileged information. He shouldn't have been saying anything.
It's only
definitely
privileged.
not.
It's only privileged to the court while their case is going on. He
Look,
can then
this
share
is
that
the thing.
information afterwards.
This
A,
is the thing
and
about
then
it.
B,
Divorce
and
is
no,
still
hold
going.
on,
The divorce
and
is still
B,
going on.
and B, and
They're
B.
not divorced
There are
yet. It's still
plenty of
going on.
times. It doesn't matter. And there are plenty of times that Trump has been caught up in some shit of things that shouldn't have been released. In fact, Georgia is a one-party state, right? So all this corruption shit, collusion stuff that's going on with Trump actually shouldn't even be in court because it's a two-party state. They need both parties to agree to know that they're being recorded and to share that information, right?
But look,
So
this is
you're
this is
basing
the
a
thing about it.
premise off a premise that,
Well,
that you disagree with, right?
this is the whole thing about
So
it is that, like, I just want to say she's just not a genius, and I think the judge. I mean, if you would have watched the trial, you would actually seen him. He stopped them all the time. And it's just, but the whole thing about it is that Terrence Bradley, he was trying to get, because see, the reason why he got kicked out of the firm with Nathan Wade is because that he actually was sexually harassing other clients. But that's the star witness. That's her.
allegedly.
Oh no, dude, he's out of there. You know what
I
I mean?
mean,
And then
allegedly, yeah. I mean, he's out of there, yeah, but
they
allegedly
showed the
for
text message of him basically trying to hit on her. So that was the whole thing about it.
who cares?
They found
So
the
because
weak link
so,
in his circle, and that's all it is to
so
it.
because
I just
he's
thought,
doing
I don't want
something
people to
because he's doing the same thing that Nathan Wade is trying to get with Fani Willis, probably trying to line
look.
his own
I
pockets the
just
same
look.
way that Nathan
I
Wade
just
is.
don't
He's
want
in the
people
wrong.
to think. I don't
I
want
think
people to
they're all
think
in the
that
wrong. I think we need to stop
look,
drawing
man.
such broad lines,
I don't
or
want people to think
yeah.
she's some type of, like, the next coming of Johnny Cochran, because she's just not Ashley Merchant. She's subpar, and so it's just that
They're
they
all
have to.
subpar. They're all that
Oh
you're
no, that's
talking
down,
about.
down,
You're
down
talking
there's some
about a
badass lawyers
Georgia
out here.
DA. You're talking
Yeah.
about a Georgia DA. You know what I'm saying? Fani Willis, Nathan Wade, all of these people are all subpar human beings, right? If they were, if they were, if
I mean,
they
I ain't call them
were,
subpar human beings.
if they
I
were
just said
the
subpar
best,
lawyers.
but if they were the best of the best of lawyers, they wouldn't be a fucking DA in Podunk, Georgia, right? Like you'd be out doing
Well,
something better,
they're
more
in Atlanta. That's
political, like.
actually a major city. And then Fani Willis and
Yeah, I
Nathan
mean
Wade
it's a
have
major
their
city,
own
but you're 40 years
have
old.
their own
That's the end
private.
of your career, right? So
Yeah.
she's at the end of her career. That's as good as she's ever gonna get, right? She's not
But
going
yeah, well,
any
it's pretty
higher.
much
There's no
it's
more
probably
potential
over
for
with
her.
now.
Yeah.
But I just don't want people to think Ashley Merchant is just some kind of legal genius scholar, whatever you want to call it.
None
she's
of
just
them
not.
are. None of them are.
But yeah, but here's the rest of the tape.
How would you say that you have a conflict in this case? Based on this case, just based on this case. That was your first case that you cited in your brief.
I don't think it was actually the first case, but
The first was actually a federal case, but the first Georgia case you cited was Whitworth on this particular issue.
Right, on this particular issue.
Correct.
And again, I don't have Whitworth in front of me, and there's a lot of different facts about these cases. I would be happy to review it and let you know. But what I can tell you is that I still, and we still believe that This is to expand the litigation. And even if it's minor, the law says over $100, that's enough to have a personal interest. So what we've got is these financial disclosures where they're not being truthful. Ms. Willis is lying under oath, which is the same thing my client is charged with conspiring to do, lying under oath about receiving a benefit over $100. So you've got those. You've got this concerted effort, which we have seen, unfortunately, drag out over the last couple months, this concerted effort to hide this information from the public, to keep this information out. I think that it is very reasonable for a court to think that that is a conflict of interest. And whether or not it's a stake in the conviction, a stake in the prosecution, we definitely have seen a stake in the prosecution. And Whitworth, the problem with Whitworth, and this is...
Who actually brings the case?
The district attorney. Well,
how do they get the case?
Well, we know a lot more now because of the book Find Me the Votes. So we know a lot more than we normally would know. So, and that's one of the things that I talk about in my motion. In this case, it was actually Nathan Wade. So he's the one that he presented most of the witnesses,
How is your client charged? How are these clients charged?
My client was charged just in the actual grand jury.
Okay.
Yeah.
So grand jury.
Yes.
Okay. So we had a special grand jury, and then you had a grand jury.
Yes.
Who made this determination?
Well, yes.
They made a determination to bring charges, basically. To indict, correct?
Yes. And I.
So are they part of all of this?
No. But I've never had the privilege of being inside of a grand jury, but I have heard a lot about what happens inside of a grand jury. It is a witness who comes, and in this case, it was actually the investigator for the DA's office. So just understand this. It is a very low standard of proof. It's probable cause. I have had clients who were dead indicted. I actually had a lawyer that I worked with at the public defender that was indicted along with his client because the DA presented an indictment that actually had the lawyer's name on it by accident, and the grand jury indicted him.
So you're saying the grand jury has flaws?
100%.
Oh, so would you think it'd be better for just the prosecutor to draw the accusations?
No.
Actually, what pisses me off about this part, and this doesn't have anything to do with Trump. This is just with the system itself. But see, that same system is good to convict minorities through there. All these other people. It's always good for us, but it's bad when it's going the other direction. That just ticks me off.
Well, I don't think that's what anybody said. Nobody said that. What she even just said it herself. Is it the perfect system? No, there's lots of problems. She just said herself, there's lots of problems with the grand jury. I agree. I disagree. A grand jury's not the best. But and kind of what he was getting to, a grand jury doesn't bring charges at all. A grand jury just dictates whether or not there's enough evidence, there's probable cause to charge them, right?
Yeah.
The DA and in fact what she's saying, Nathan Wade, are the ones who provided the evidence, which was a state witness, and that's all they had to bring charges against Donald Trump. Now, and what she's also saying is the same crime that she's charging Donald Trump with, okay, is the same crime that she has now put herself in a position to be committed. So two things can be true at once. Donald Trump could have done something that can be considered a crime, and he should be charged for it. What also should be considered then is Fani Willis then needs to be also put in jail for the same crime. She needs to be charged. She needs to be removed from the case. And she never will. I know, because she's a Democrat Party shill. I agree. Yeah. She's right. And that's why Donald Trump will never see the inside of a jail cell.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah.
That's why.
I know you guys have a bill doing that right now. No, I definitely don't think so. The grand jury is better than no oversight.
Correct.
Definitely. But it's a continuum. So my point in bringing that up is the grand jury is not perfect. The grand jury I'm not allowed to be part of the grand jury. It is not what I would call adversarial. So the grand jury is one-sided. They only hear from the prosecutor. And they hear hearsay. So in this case, using it as an example, the investigator for the DA's office listened to all the January 6th testimony, read all the testimony, went in there and summed it up for the grand jury. They present, the grand jury doesn't draw up the indictment. The prosecutor brings that indictment, and then they vote, and it's a majority. So all they have to do is a majority vote, and it's by a very low standard. It's a probable cause, which is about 25% proof. So you've got hearsay, you've got a witness who hasn't actually witnessed anything personally, you've got a standard of 25%. I think there should be much more safeguards on the grand jury process personally, but that's for another day.
So he went through special grand jury and they made their recommendations. Then went to a grand jury and they, of course, made their recommendations. And how many persons have actually pled in this particular case?
2 or 3.
2 or 3 already.
And they were lawyer. Well, there was one. So the first gentleman who pled, he was a bondsman, and he was not, because of the state law for bonding agents, he's not able to actually run his business while he's on bond. So he had a significant financial interest in entering a plea early on because he was essentially couldn't work if he didn't enter a plea. And I mean, he got probation. You know, it was not what you would imagine in a huge racketeering case. You would not imagine probation and a $5,000 fine. The other 2 people who pled are both lawyers. Lawyers at the end of their career, and I can imagine when I'm close to retirement and I have my retirement funds, if I would want to spend them on a criminal trial or spend them seeing my grandchildren, I would spend them seeing my grandchildren.
One of the things we've been talking about is Mr. Wade's kind of qualification. So,
yes.
But you did mention early on that
that was the weakest excuse why the lawyers went ahead and that was so weak. So
how is that weak? They're at the end of their career. How's that weak?
Okay, a lawyer is going to sit up there. No, he had, I can't even think of her name right now. They had one of those lawyers. She was probably in her mid-30s that pleaded guilty. And it was actually more people that's already pled out. I remember, I stopped counting. It was about 8 or 9 that already had pled it out and getting ready to turn state witness. So it was way more than 3. So she just got that facts wrong on that.
Man, yeah. And you remember when all the finding the votes thing was going on, and Trump's legal team was like, "Oh, we're about to release the Kraken." All these people pleading out and all this shit going on that never ceases to come. That's just the Democrat side of it, dude. You're blind to it. It's not happening, bro. It's all an illusion. This is all a joke, bro. It's all political theater. It's all a joke.
Like this. It's just like a kid like stealing cookies out of the, mom told him only get 2 cookies and you go and get 2 or 3. It's just. It's crumbling around him. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, because
that's a bad analogy. So it's like mom telling everybody to go get 2 cookies. Trump gets 3. Hillary Clinton gets 16. Joe Biden gets 35. Barack Obama gets 37. And then it's split between everybody else. And then they all sit there and point fingers at Trump. They're all doing the same shit. They're all guilty of the same thing.
The next time you come on there, I want you to start bringing some documents where they did.
I just sent you some about Obama killing those citizens, American citizens. So I sent you one in Steve Yard.
Yeah. We're gonna do just one podcast and just talk about all. That's the only thing we're gonna go through all the conspiracy.
If you don't, I mean, we're at the fall of Rome, right? And it's not lead in our plumbing. Okay, we have some of the most politically corrupt people on the face of the planet when it comes to cronyism, corporatism. You can't shake your head and say no that Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and the Obamas are doing the same thing, because they are. They're all guilty of the same shit.
Man, look,
I'm telling you, what we need to do is as citizens need to go get them and either tar and feather them or have them all tried for treason and start over.
Okay, all right. Let me go and start this.
he was very instrumental in the special grand jury process. So he's been there. He's been part of this process.
Oh, you can see that by his bills, yes.
Right. So other than just his bills, you said that you recognize that he's been part of the process. So even though he's very, I guess, what everyone's saying is inexperienced, he was able to go to a special grand jury and get their positive recommendations, I guess, from state side. He's able to go to a grand jury and get indictments, which positive for the state side. And he's actually had some persons actually plead guilty. So this inexperienced former assistant solicitor, I mean, he's not doing too bad, is he?
That would be up for dispute. I mean, if you want to talk about his qualifications and whether I think he's qualified, I'm happy to talk about that.
I'm just saying. I mean, when you say that someone's totally unqualified.
All right, this is the only thing, because like I said, this is not a race-bait podcast. That was anybody that I'll just say I'm gonna speak for what I saw it. That was disrespecting that black man right there, and that was basically him not being qualified. Which with the judge, it said, as long as he has a pulse, Nathan Wade is a lawyer than me.
So I think we've caught on to this. We've caught on to this disgusting idea where we can no longer criticize people because of their race, or it's taken as racism. Did she say anything about his race?
No, she didn't have to.
He is not qualified, dude. You assume. You
Now,
assume,
that's what we
right?
all know.
Which
They say he's not
assumption? No,
qualified, but
no, 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 no. You assume. You are assuming.
it's like that. She know what she was doing when she did that.
No, no, no. You're assuming what someone else was doing. You're trying to put in your head.
Oh
So,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah. So because of someone's race, you're assuming the way that they think. What is
no.
that called? What is that known as?
That
Oh,
that
that's
that that that
racism. That's racism.
no. Look,
Damn. Oh yeah.
you know what?
Someone
And I'm
has
gonna
to think
say
a certain
you wouldn't
way.
understand. You wouldn't understand on that one, but that's what that
Oh,
was
because
to
I'm
me.
white, I wouldn't understand, right?
Now you wouldn't
Oh,
understand on that one.
damn.
And that's
What's
basically
that
what's been
called?
going on. It's very surprising he
Racism.
was able to go to a special grand jury. You say he's integral
Oh,
in
that's
that.
not surprising at all.
And he's going to go into a grand jury. And you say he's integral in that. Then why even say that he's unexperienced and he's getting people to plead guilty? And but basically you're saying those are just lawyers that don't want to do anything anymore and they just pled their clients guilty.
No,
I understand.
No. So the special purpose grand jury, first of all, remember my client was not recommended as far as that.
I understand.
The special purpose grand jury, I've had the opportunity to read a lot of the transcripts from that. It's direct examination. So you're bringing a witness in and you're talking and you're saying, tell me what happened. So he did that along with Mr. Wooten, and he never did it all by himself. He definitely led it, but Mr. Wooten asked a lot of questions, and there were some other prosecutors in and out, but he was always there. But that, I mean, special purpose grand jury is really just to investigate and get testimony.
I understand.
So it's not.
But when a person's trying to insinuate that somebody's basically totally unqualified, it is important to realize that they've walked this case to this particular point. Very complicated case, I'd imagine.
I mean, that's something that we could debate. If walking someone through the grand jury,
See, Adam, and I'm gonna say this: that man felt disrespected by her saying that you just can't read between the lines on that. That's why
Yeah,
he
because I mean, I
challenged her on
haven't,
that.
I mean, because I haven't been raised my entire life to look at people a certain way
Oh
simply
man,
because of the color of their
dude.
skin, right? Why,
Now
like
like I
you
said,
can't.
you
It's
need to
literally.
really like.
Mm-mm.
But the thing about it is that like, you know what? I'm not even gonna address it. We're gonna move forward. But I say what I said. Here you go.
Special purpose grand jury is complicated or not. Asking questions, and again, there's a team of 10 lawyers. So
now it's a team of 10 lawyers.
who knows what part he's doing? But the question would be then, why him? Why not all of the public servants who are taking government salaries and, restricted in their private law practice? Why do they need him there when there's all these other people? As far as the qualifications, asking questions in a special purpose grand jury in and of itself, I mean, there's no opponent. There's no adversary. There's no judge.
Once it became adversarial, you've had persons start pleading. And maybe more potentially, correct? Possibly. But we'll find out. But let me ask you this, though, because you were talking about the staff. One of the reasons you may go outside to outside counsel could be the fact that if you actually put this type of case within the office, just speculating, but to some extent we all are, the office would basically shut down. It's a potential that the DA's office had actually basically shut down.
Oh, God, no. If you took the $1 million that he's been paid, you could hire 5 lawyers.
You could do that, but how long would you be able to keep them? In other words, if you hired 5 new inexperienced ADAs, they're not tackling this case. And also,
well, the inexperienced ADAs are not going to make $200,000. So if you're hiring inexperienced ADAs, you'd probably be able to hire 20. But that's not what.
But the key thing is that job that you're talking about that you're going to hire with that, with the $1 million that you'd have paid him.
Yeah.
If that's your theory on it, that's not going to stay. That's not necessarily going to be long term if you're just you're just saying the money you paid him, you could have done this. Because his is a short term kind of situation. His is on contract, so it's short term. It's not a long term contract. It's not going to last for a person's career. So I understand the back and forth when persons were saying, well, they could have used this money for that. But that money was delegated for him on the short term project, so to speak. So it's not anything that a person would come in long term and actually necessarily do. But at the same time, that would be up to the.
Yeah, you got any comments on that one, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what she said. They hire temporary ADAs all the time. They hire ADAs that'll come in from another county for 6 months, a year at a time. Like they could hire them for specific cases. His argument's bullshit. I don't know why she's not picking up on that. Just because you hire an ADA doesn't mean they need to stay there forever. Like you're a part-time government contractor.
The whole time
he really hasn't. I mean, I can see based on Toad and Canaan's how you would assume that, but when it really comes down to the brass tacks of things, it's much ado about nothing.
the case that she cited was not even the right one. I mean, that alone right there to me, but
the district attorney to make that decision, how she's doing that. I just make the point that so far, from a district attorney standpoint, I would say that they probably believe that so far the case is successful. And we can argue about what's qualified and what's not, but certainly I think that they would argue at this point the case has gone from a successful pattern for somebody that's been denigrated and said it's totally unqualified. I did want to go into these trips. How much was the money? Go ahead. Thank you.
Was that a question? Because I'd like to respond if it is.
Yes.
Okay. I took notes because there were a couple different questions in there. So the first one, you said about how much money. So Ms. Willis had stated that it would be between $3 or $4 million to actually pay Mr. Wade completely to prosecute this case. So you'd be able to hire a number of prosecutors. Some of them do come and go, but most of the prosecutors we've seen on this case have been there since the beginning. So, unfortunately, these cases take time, so people may leave. You also asked me about that this money was delegated for this, and I just wanted to make sure that my testimony was accurate. This money was never delegated for this. The county did not ever delegate this. The county was not involved in that at all. Ms. Willis is the one that decided, and there's no budget. There's no transparency at all on this.
She does the contract with him, and I believe you showed those contracts. So in that sense, is delegated to him because that contract can end at any time. She could say, hey, the contract because he works at her pleasure.
Oh, yes.
So that contract can actually end at any time. That would be the point.
Yes.
On the trips, how much total were the trips?
About $20,000.
And I think it was about 17,059. But even if we say 20,000, what was the average cost of each one of those trips?
I don't know.
Well,
Unfortunately, they did not provide all of the records, so I can't tell you exactly. All I can tell you is what Mr. Wade charged on his credit cards. I can't tell you. Most of it was paid in cash, so there's no record. So I wish I could tell you, but
going by your slide, one was 3,335, one was 4,453.
which one? Hold on, I want to make sure I'm clear on each.
You had 6 trips.
Okay, but which trip are you talking? Well, you said one is 3,000 something. I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah, put it back up for me, please.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
So the first one, Royal Caribbean, 3,335, Aruba, 4,453. And then we see the next one, and then the next 2. How would that compare? I mean, why is that so unusual on price points as far as trips are concerned?
No, I mean, I don't think so. The Royal Caribbean, so I can tell you because I know these records really well. I mean, Royal Caribbean, I specifically kept out the money that he spent on his mom's cabin. So they had 2 cabins. His mom had a cabin. They had an oceanfront balcony. For the Bahamas, I think oceanfront balcony is probably upper middle, but I don't know that it matters. Flew comfort class, not unnormal for a lawyer.
You know what maybe the average American spends on a vacation?
Not this much.
You don't think?
No.
Have you looked?
Huh? No, I haven't, but I would imagine most of the Fulton County taxpayers would love to go on any of these trips.
Well, if you, since you speculate a lot, I could speculate and say that you did look, and that's why you didn't put it in your brief.
I did
because
not.
Forbes actually says that the average is about $3,700 that a person spends on a vacation.
For a single person or a family?
Family of 4. Well, at that time, they were taking 2 and 3 at the time.
That makes
so
sense.
That's about
no,
normal.
hold on. I want to make sure that's clear. You said they were taking 2 or 3 at a time. All of these, I made very certain that my numbers only included the 2 of them. So the one trip that they took
But
his
it's
mother on.
2 adults.
2 adults, yes.
It's nothing extraordinary.
So you said $3,700 for a family of 4. That does not surprise me. For families that can afford to go on vacations, does not surprise me.
So it's basically what the average American would do.
So that's.
Yes.
This is half of that for 2 people. So you said $3,700 for a family of 4. This is for 2 people.
Right. It's just 2 people.
Right. So
Yes.
yes.
So it wouldn't necessarily be average. It's 2 adults. Bottom line is it's not extravagant. It's not lavish, is it?
The law only says $100. So.
But it's not lavish.
That's one of the reasons I didn't include all the Ubers. I quite frankly didn't want to do the math. But there were a ton of Ubers on each of these trips. There was a hotel at the beginning of the Royal Bahamas. I didn't include that. I didn't want to do the math, and I also did not want to.
And how much does Ms. Willis make?
200 and something thousand a year.
So
It's in my brief.
your argument is that a person who makes $200,000 a year is actually setting up prosecutions to go on a trip that costs $3,500. That's your argument.
No, not in isolation. I mean, you're talking about in isolation.
No, I'm not talking about in isolation. I'm talking about what's in briefs. I don't know what else you may be speculating about. I'm just talking about what's in briefs that says this is.
All right. that's basically all
I
I need
mean,
to
I
hear on
think
that
it's
one.
so yeah. First
Because
of all,
that's
dude.
I mean, because
First of all, dude's wrong. It's $2,700 on average for a family of 4 to go on a vacation one time a year. You're going on 6 vacations in 1 year with 2 people over $3,500, and that's just the cost of the
it
cruise.
was basically
Hey,
came out to be about
B,
17,000.
would someone who
but
makes $200,000 a year defraud the American taxpayer? 100%. It
man,
happens all
no,
the
no,
time.
for
Look at the mayor.
$20,000. Come on,
Who's
man.
that mayor?
Come on, man.
Who's that mayor right now? And this is just one example. It's
Yeah,
trying to
that's
be demeaned
Tiffany
by
Henry.
saying it's trying to be demeaned by saying, oh, they're only going on vacation. No, there's a much deeper issue here. There's issues of them misappropriating funds for underprivileged youth for buying computers and shit like that.
Well, they
There's
have.
evidence.
I haven't seen any charges on that. I mean, this is
eh,
the whole thing about
They're
it. It's
there.
just like I like how he broke it down because it just makes it just crazy. For like I said, somebody making she makes $230,000 a year, and that's just her GA job, and she also has a private practice. So don't tell her how much she makes with that. He also had a private practice. I mean, it just don't even make no sense for those two to try. They conspire together, trying to and it's crazy. And I mean,
Come
they
on,
just
man. That's like
it's
saying
crazy.
you don't understand how Nancy Pelosi is almost a billionaire, but she takes up insider trading based on the votes that they have in the House.
I mean,
Like,
it's just
because wealthy people like to take advantage of things like that. They will at any
oh
chance,
yeah,
at any point in time, they will take advantage of it. Why does somebody making $200,000 a year want to defraud the American populace and use taxpayer dollars to
man.
go on vacation? Because they're bad people. Fani Willis is not a good person. Just end of story. I'm not saying
Yeah,
Donald Trump's a good
look,
person. I'm not saying
show the
Donald
hell out.
Trump's a good person. I'm telling you that Nathan Wade's not a good person. This old Terrence fella's not a good person.
Like,
None of these people are good people.
well, look, man, it's just like this. At the end of the day, the thing about it is they're fighting tooth and nail. I love it though. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. They fight to the death, and I like that. You know what I mean? But everything comes up must come down, and I'm telling you, he's going to jail. And like I said,
I don't think so.
I
It's
gotta,
not happening.
yeah,
It's not happening, bro.
yeah, man,
We'll see
yeah.
when you're voting for him here in November.
Man, I'm not voting for that dude
Yeah, you
ever
will.
again. As long as they got the MAGA
Yeah.
in there, that
Just
one
wait.
third of the
Just wait.
party is a
Yeah, I
white
mean,
nationalist.
you'll get over that's not true at
Man,
all. Where
no,
do you get that
never,
1/3 number?
never.
Where'd you get that 1/3 number
Man,
from?
dude, that's the number I
Where'd you
came
get
up
that
with.
one?
Now that's the number I
You
came up
just
with.
invented it?
Nah, man,
It's, you invented it.
it's
Where'd you
about
get that
one
number
third of them.
from? One
No, I
third?
mean
That's bullshit. No.
one third of them, about one third of the Republican Party, I think, is hardcore MAGA, is as they say it,
So that makes
right?
them white nationalists?
Well, that's the movement that's going inside of there, and some of them might not even MAGA. I mean, just
So
look, man.
you're making assumptions about assumptions. So you're assuming that 1/3 of the party is quote unquote MAGA, and then that a percentage of them have this idealistic white nationalist view. Right?
I'm gonna tell you just like this. I'm being actually modest, but this is just what I'm saying. In the Republican Party, that it's a known fact, and from my standpoint and the way I see it out of my lens, that there is a white nationalist movement going
If
in there. I'm
it's
not
a
going to say
known
everybody.
fact, if
I'm
it's a
not going to
known
say
fact, where do you find the
I'm
fact?
not going to say everybody in the Republican Party is like that, but I'm gonna say about one third of them are.
I'm going to say that's a
That's
gross
where
overestimation.
I'm at with it.
I would
That's
say
where
when
I'm
it
at with
comes
it.
to Caucasians, less than 10% of Caucasians are racist. I would say when it comes to Black
Man, look, dude.
Americans, over 70% are. And because
Man,
we
you
can
don't
see
know that. You
statistically,
don't know
yeah,
that.
we do actually. So there was a study done a couple years ago. I forget
Man,
what
I'm not.
university.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
forget
no,
what
no, no.
university did
Man,
this.
look.
So listen. So I
Nah,
forget what
dude, we're
university
not.
did this.
I'm
Listen.
gonna let you get
Are
this
you
one
gonna
out.
listen? Yes, the typical. See, that's the Democrat
Go
in
ahead,
you. You
man.
still don't want to hear
It's crazy.
somebody
It's
out. Yeah.
crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah,
No, go
so
ahead.
they asked white people how often on a daily basis does the color of their skin or their race affect their decision making, and most of the time I think it was 12% of Caucasian people said barely or said it was very important, or the most important thing in their life. A majority of them, I believe over 80%, said it doesn't even matter at all and it didn't affect their decision making.
Matter if what again? What was the question?
Matter that their race and or skin color was a factor in their everyday decision making.
I bet not. I
Right,
know it's
right.
not.
Yeah, they said it's not. And over 80% of Black Americans. So the way that they treat individuals based on their race, they said that being Black was like one of the most important
No,
things to them.
okay,
Making
and it's just
decisions,
like,
being
okay,
Black was one of the most
no,
important things. Yeah, yeah.
I think you might have got that question wrong because what it
No,
sounds like to
no,
me
that's
is that
it.
how
I
did
mean, I could look it up here.
dude
Yeah.
is oh come on man, I might look. I know the viewers gonna be mad at me, but I could like really go in on that one because like, but
Dude,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
mad.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm telling you, it's just no. I'm not. But I'm gonna tell you right now. I bet you the decision making of a white person is very different from a black people on a daily basis. Some of the things that we have to worry about, you guys don't have to worry about. We have to worry about walking to the store, getting
Yeah,
out of the store, driving in the
that's
car.
so
That's the
that's the
that's the
same
decision
tired
making I'm talking about.
that's the same tired argument feminists make. Oh, men don't
Yeah,
have to feel
yeah. Oh,
scared when they
look, man.
walk
There
down
we
the
go.
street at midnight.
There we
Yeah,
go.
statistically, white people are the most victimized, right? Statistically,
Oh,
white men are the most victimized by Black men.
oh
That's
man.
statistics. That's
So we
statistics.
bought. So
I
we bought.
mean,
Okay. Okay. The thing about I'm not trying to make it a black
hold
white
on, right
thing,
here.
but
Pew
dude,
Research. Race is central to
this.
identify for Black Americans and affects how they connect with each other. And it
You said
says, it's
what?
saying here, race is central to identity for Black Americans and affects how they connect with each other.
Yeah.
This is Pew Research. Yes. About 3/4 overall Black Americans say being Black is extremely or very important to how they think about themselves, with about 3/4, 76% overall saying so. So if you believe that being Black is your
So
identity and controls everything
so
about you and is
okay.
the
So
most
you're
important thing, that is by definition racism.
man. Look. All right. I want you to hey keep them keep those same. I want you to matter of fact put that in the chat so I can
Yeah.
break that down for you and give and interpret and give you the interpretation of what it really means.
I've
Okay.
interpreted it many times. I mean, I know exactly
You
what it
don't
means.
no, that's not what that
Mhm.
means, man. I'm about to educate you on that one. But look,
Okay. All right.
yeah, but look, guys. All right, that's gonna end our live stream tonight. We try to do this every Tuesday and Thursday, man. But we're out, guys. Peace.
Have a good one.